Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have quite a few interesting things to go talk about because as of even earlier on today, if you guys saw that video, I'm a little bit embarrassed about that video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed just a little bit of a mix-up on content. We actually have the brand new PlayStation 5 Slim first look actually have a chance to go and be showcased. Now, I made a video on it last night when the first initial videos were kind of coming out and kind of going viral. That's why I had a video earlier on, and I was also a little bit on the inebriated side, so some of the comments and statements I said may have not been the best. So if you guys are really bored, you guys want to watch it, I think it was at least maybe not the most entertaining, but I did put a little bit of my Twitch flair into it. But I want to have a little bit more of a proper sit down and shorter video to go and highlight kind of what a lot of folks that are kind of making comments on the PlayStation 5 Slimmer, and if there is any more that I see throughout the next few days or so, I may make another video on that. But as well, I also want to go and highlight some some stuff, like such as Linus Tech Tips also did go make a pretty big initial rundown and talk through on it, and I also want to kind of maybe give a little bit of my own initial more like concise thoughts on the brand new console. So far, it doesn't seem like it's the worst, and I do believe Sony is going to be phasing out the other consoles either way. So the older consoles, the bigger, bulkier, kind of older style consoles, are still going to be going away no matter what. So pretty much anyone in the future that wants to get a PlayStation or their console breaks or whatever it might be, future Christmas, family members, whatever, you're probably going to get the Slim no matter what. So this is the brand new baseline console regardless. So we're going to talk about this, talk about some brand new stuff, and kind of give you guys a little bit more of my concise reasons and why the console is not maybe the most well received so far. And of course, if you guys want to have a bunch of how links for the upcoming best video games of the year up on sale for Best Buy down below. We have the Twitter and Twitch. I'm actually going to be getting drunk tonight up on Twitch if you guys are bored. Just having a nice little degenerate weekend. So if you guys are bored, go and say hi. And of course, as well, subscribe if you guys are new. So we kind of talked about this and showcased up some of this on the brand new consoles. But I want to go and highlight up a few different other things we've had a chance to see, because some of the bigger tech folks so far have had a chance to go and highlight and show off their consoles. So a good example over here is like Linus Tech Tips. We want to have like a little bit of a background reference just to highlight and showcase up some of this stuff, because people have been curious in how these are going to look like, how it's going to go, and initially a lot of folks are still kind of on the iffy side. Now, we highlighted some of these on that prior video, so if it's a little bit of a recap, I hope you guys don't mind. A little bit more of a rarity for that one, but you guys can kind of see a few big highlights as they got rid of these kind of upside, almost like diagonal spaceship designs. This is the old console right here where my mouse cursor is, and they kind of like slimmed it down quite a bit on the brand new slimmer console. And as well, you can also see how it's a little more fine-tuned, etc. with it. And now, obviously, some folks are kind of not so happy because some people actually did like that design. And if you kind of look in the internal front Y side, it doesn't feel and look the same. And as well, we also had a really kind of big thing too when it comes to the gloss and also like, I guess, reflector when it comes to the consoles overall. And that was a really big highlight we noticed, where the disk drive and the upper drive actually seemed like they were two different paint styles. And those two different styles just kind of looked very shoddy, very gross, and not necessarily the best overall. And kind of to give you guys, like, I guess, the high picture, we also had some folks even on my Twitch stream and also make comments on the fact that the internal cooling was different. And the fact alone where the console itself had like this weird copper almost oxidation, which actually may lead to a bigger issue than expected. And a lot of folks, even after I made that video, I made a few more comments on that, and also I've seen that a little bit floating around on the internet side. Some folks actually might be more concerned on that. We may do a little bit more of a deeper dive on the channel itself, so obviously subscribe if you guys are new and want to hear more stuff on that. I'll try to do a little bit of proper research and reach out to some proper folks for that. But so far, it does kind of seem like the initial console itself doesn't have the world's first initial review. We did also make a lot of comments on the actual stand itself being a little bit on the weirder side. Now, I do kind of want to go and agree on that one where it just doesn't feel right. And I want to highlight this, and this is actually one of the things I really want to highlight a lot more. On the front-facing side, this doesn't look bad. But one big point that I kept on pushing for was that slightly different paint job on the console. On this front-facing, it doesn't really feel bad at all, but then in the next 3 seconds, you guys may have seen that, we have a chance to go and highlight on how actually different the actual paint job is. Now, I'm going to wait for him to go grab it, and you guys can look and see right here. Now, this right here is, I think, the perfect description of how different the console looks like. And this is not edited, because it's purely from a video itself, and it looks like it's a one-shot video. And this is something we highlighted a lot on that prior take that I believe it was Dave also made a comment on. But look at the actual video screen. This is not me editing something like this. I'm doing a good proper raw one take. Look at the actual line from the console itself. This, in terms of lighting, this would bother me up the wazoo, to the point where I'd almost want to make another video and talk about it, because this is just really, really obnoxious. They have the actual gloss on top and normal plastic on the bottom for the disc drive. It looks horrible in my opinion, and it's so obvious. Now imagine you're in a room, we have proper lighting or whatever it might be, or if you have your console on your desk. For someone like me, I have lights on my desk. If someone is in my room, they will notice this, because guess what? I can like adjust the lights all the time. Like you see how I got my router now, if I want to go move it back over here, like I can adjust the lights if I have a proper light above me, which I do for like videos itself. Like guess what? This will actually go and reflect on the actual console overall. I don't like this. I'm not a fan of this. I don't think it seems really cool. And we've also had a lot more other complaints too in the kind of same boat as me, where they just don't necessarily like the fine-tunedness of these consoles. Like, so here's an actual like straight like one-to-one. And I think it does look slimmer and slicker. But they also did go and change the actual locations, in case you guys missed this, of like the USB, the power button. Because it is technically a shorter console, and it did kind of go down a little bit more. You guys can kind of see how they have these two like actual slots right here, in comparison to how they have this right in the middle as well. I think it does look nicer how they made it on this type of side, but they have adjusted up the console at least a little bit too as well, which not many folks I think have talked about as much. It has been there, it's been around, but yeah, that's kind of, I think, the bigger thing a lot of folks have actually noticed too as well. And now we also want to look at the back side too, in case we want to have like a proper look through over here. The power outlets are still similar over there, but they have adjusted some of the locations. You guys can almost kind of see like they have flipped them back and forth, where we still have these same, I believe, USBs over here. You still have the LAN cables too as well, but at the same time the HDMI does kind of seem like it's also flipped around. I'm not sure exactly why they did that, maybe more so for the internals of the console itself, but I do believe that's also kind of a big thing to kind of go and know. Now, as well, you can also do the little flip side. It does kind of seem like it's not the biggest changes. Like, I can't really complain too much. Like, you still have the same amount of slots. They're moved very slightly. It's not changing the console up overall, like, dramatically. It also is, like, a smaller console, too, at the end of the day, so it's not the biggest overall deal. Like, it's okay. It's not the world's worst end-all, be-all. But it is kind of a big thing to kind of go and know. And we also did notice a few other things, too, as well, where some folks are still very upset about the actual holders. Like, the holders themselves are just not a vibe. Even the older ones, you guys can kind of see in the background of the video, or even in my own current setup, it works. Like, it kind of blends on in, it works, it's not the biggest deal. But also at this point too, they're trying to go compared to like the D brand, or like they have like the different offset basically like, you know, outside covers. And I do think D brand's done a very good job, and very, like, I guess, well made in terms of making them look a little bit nicer and better. Now, I still think the actual design and stylistic for this is still nice. I think it looks good overall. And apparently, they were also going to highlight a lot of the internals, too, where they were trying to go make it seem like it was losing weight, as well as also cutting down on energy consumption. But when it came to all, like, the internal testing, it didn't really seem like it really was losing or like using less energy. Kind of seem very comparable. So I'm not really sure on how much of an energy consumption loss this new console is going to be. As more and more time comes out, we'll probably see more information coming out with it. But it doesn't really seem like there's that much in terms of power consumption, as well as also cutting back on the actual heat and heat dissipation. And as well with the front-facing, like front vents, it actually might even go and have less reduction of airflow, which also might make it worse for the internal consoles. And that's why some folks are kind of curious on the oxidation too as well. So I want to say I think this is actually them trying to go doing the internals, which we did go and see the SSD in the prior videos are overall perfectly fine, but at the same exact time, people are still curious, because I am still seemingly seeing this oxidation too as well. Now, this might be a bigger issue, like if you guys look at this proper too, it does seem sketchy. Now, they do have a few different slightly other things, that they have the VRM cooling that's popped up over there, and I'm not sure if that's new or not, but this oxidation issue is like a really prevalent thing that I keep on seeing in all these Slims, which is actually might lead towards a bigger issue nonetheless, and I'm going to see if there's more of a widespread issue. So if you guys do get your Slims in the future, and you guys do take it apart, let me know, because it does seem like almost every single console does have this little bits and specs of oxidation. We saw that on the other prior console too as well. So hopefully it's not going to turn into like a big issue that all of us have to worry about. Major fingers crossed as well. But it's kind of just going through the actual console itself and kind of seeing what's up, doing all the testing and all of that, and they've done a pretty good, proper job as they've gone through it. But I do think the mainstay issues are more on like the outside design of how the console looks like in terms of the mixture of glosses we covered in the prior video, and as well they have gone and changed up some of the stuff in the internal specs, but it doesn't seem like anything major enough to like want to go and reach on home for. Still seems like it's pretty much the same internal specs, slightly better SSD, and they may have rearranged a few different things in terms of the outside, also maybe like changing some internals, such as like say the heat sinks, etc. But I don't think it's anything super major or super different. It's just what we have to see. But even off that type of shot itself, that oxidation, if that is going to be an issue, is still very scary. But at the end of the day, I just want to kind of showcase up a little bit more extra, I guess, opinions, and a little bit more on the sober side, although the high video is probably a little bit nicer at the end of the day. And as well, on top of that too, it does kind of seem like it's working. It's fine. I'll I'll be a little bit concerned about if there's going to be any widespread issues on the Slim, and we'll kind of keep you guys in the loop. Everything else kind of pops on off. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. We'll be live up on Twitch right now, and I'll check out all the how links down below. We have a bunch of Best Buy video games up on sale. Hashtag ad for Best Buy, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys all soon.